Finally, the Combine is upon us. Not only does this give teams the opportunity to dive a little bit more deeply into prospects, but it also gives teams the opportunity to speak to the media. And with San Francisco and John Lynch, one of the most interesting things that was brought up was Kyle Juszczyk, their longtime fullback. While he's been a great player for them, it appears maybe headed into this season, San Francisco is ready to move off of him. When talking about Juszczyk's future with the team, Lynch said the following: "We'll see. We're thinking of a lot of things right now. We're trying to make everything work and some tighter constraints than we've had in the past." The 49ers not only looking to re-sign Brock Purdy, but also other players like Dre Greenlaw. But replacing a player like Kyle Juszczyk isn't going to be easy. Not only is he a phenomenal fullback, he also served as San Francisco's tight end 2 primarily last season. But I believe Kyle Shanahan knew this was coming, so he's been developing his replacement in Jake Tonges. He comes in at 6'4", weighing 240 pounds, and at the Combine, he ran his 40-yard dash in 4.77 seconds. Like Juice, Tonges is also an extremely versatile player. He played tight end at the college level, but with the Bears, he was actually listed as a fullback entering the league. Then he signed with San Francisco during the 2023 season, and for the last 2 years, he's just been developing his craft in this offense. So in this video, I want to go over his most recent year's film, peel back the layers on the player that Jake Tonges is, and why I believe he makes perfect sense to replace Kyle Juszczyk this upcoming season. The reason I say Kyle Shanahan has really been preparing for this is because he's been mixing in Tonges at their fullback spot despite him being listed as a tight end. And he's just continued to progress over these last couple of years. On this play, for instance, I love how he's able to get out in the open space, and while he's not driving this defender into the ground, he does get in his way and makes it so he's not able to tackle the running back on this play. Outside of his athleticism, I also think Tonges is a pretty aware player. On this play, for instance, he's supposed to get to the second level and block a linebacker, but because the offensive lineman and tight end aren't able to block this defensive end, he chips him, makes it to the second level, and this is a pretty good adjustment for something that wasn't his fault. Another thing vital for a fullback's success is his understanding of other players' momentum. You're not always going to be the strongest player on the field or the biggest, but you can use a player's momentum to your advantage. Here, for instance, this defender is shooting up the field pretty recklessly, so Tonges takes his momentum and almost uses a judo throw to get him outside of the play. Unsurprisingly, he's also a pretty effective option coming out of the backfield on routes. I think he has some of the better hands on the entire team, to be honest. Before we get into him as an offensive weapon though, I want to just conclude by saying a few more things about his blocking. As a tight end, every single time I watch him block, he's so fundamentally sound. On this play, for instance, he's executing a hook block, and it's done to perfection. He's able to quickly flip his hips, get full arm extension, and cut off this bigger defensive end from the play. I've also routinely been impressed by his pass blocking, more specifically his footwork. On this play action pass, for instance, he's able to make his way all the way across the offensive line, break down an open space, square up with this defender, and give the quarterback enough time to get this ball off. Impressed as I am with how strong of a blocker Jake is, he's better as a pass catcher. I mean, it really seems like he has stickum or another type of glue on his gloves. He catches everything that comes his direction. Here, for instance, with the Tennessee Titans defender draped all over him and the ball thrown away from his body, he makes an incredible diving catch. As far as his route running goes, while he doesn't have the speed just to beat you straight up on a go pattern, he has enough wiggle in his routes to create separation not just in zone coverage, but man coverage as well. So when I'm looking at this Kyle Juszczyk situation, it really does appear San Francisco has a replacement on their roster, and that would free up cap space to potentially get another offensive lineman or re-sign a player like Dre Greenlaw. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts on the potential replacement of Kyle Juszczyk if San Francisco does decide to go that route this offseason, and it seems they're leaning that direction. But I'd like to hear your thoughts down below, who you think will replace Kyle Juszczyk, or do you think San Francisco will allow him just to play out his final year of his contract? It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.